What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to cover a big change that's happening and a few new releases that have come out in the federal budget of 2022 here in Toronto, Ontario. Today specifically, I want to talk about what is blind bidding and what's going on with that and how is that going to change our market here in Toronto. So most of you have heard that we have a new thing coming out called the Home Buyer Bill of Rights. Essentially what this is creating transparency for the buying process and actually banning blind bidding. So what blind bidding is when you're involved in an offer presentation or a bidding war, there are multiple offers on the table. As a buyer agent and the buyer, you don't know the prices and the conditions of the other offers, you only know how many offers are on the table. This can be confusing, frustrating for all buyers agents, and in the last little bit, we've seen prices go super high and super crazy. So I personally think that open bidding is a great thing in terms of transparency. I think that everyone should have access to the information that they would like to have access to. However, I think people are excited for the wrong reason. Let me explain why. I want to quickly take a second and explain that I do think transparency is extremely important in the buying process. I don't like that there is some information hidden from the buyers. I think that everyone should have the information accessible. And I see a lot of hate towards Toronto realtors or realtors in general on social media, calling them shady, whatever it may be. I can tell you right now that there are a lot of bad realtors, but there's also a lot of amazing realtors. Just like any profession, there's good and bad employees for both. I personally don't associate or know any bad realtors that would do anything shady. We all have the best interests of our clients firsthand, but I do understand that some people don't like realtors. And I think that this whole transparency, banning blind bidding would be a great option to get some trust back in the real estate industry. But one thing I want to be clear about is that realtors, we don't really dictate the prices rising and lowering. It's strictly supply and demand. And like I said, I work with a lot of great realtors. I spend hours per day on my market intelligence, and I am actually in the market every single day. I see the changes happening before the news, before you would hear about it. So I've had a few people say like, oh, goodbye to realtors. Just because it's an open bidding process doesn't mean the realtor's job is going to be eliminated. At the end of the day, would you trust Googling it yourself, or would you trust a realtor who's been doing this for X amount of years, who knows the market inside and out, and who does this as their daily job? I think you're gonna lean towards that. So transparency is what we want at the end of the day. It's what the buyers want. They want to see the prices, they want to see the conditions and the other offers, and I think that's great. However, there's been studies out there that show that this actually increases prices. Whether that happens here or not, I don't know. I personally think that an open bid system would increase prices, but that's just me. I also love the fact that there is a mandatory home inspection involved here. Typically, a home inspection would be a condition in an offer, which would really hinder your offer depending on which market you're in. In Toronto, it's very common to see firm offers, which means there are no conditions on the table, and you're taking a little bit of a gamble. With any investment, there's risks on the table, of course, but it's nice as a first-time home buyer to get into a home with peace of mind that you're not getting into a lemon or a bad house, something that you couldn't see on your 30-minute walkthrough. One thing I want to talk about is that when you have a firm offer, it doesn't always mean it's as is. I do understand from a first-time home buyer's perspective that it could be a little unnerving going into a property, buying it and owning it without knowing really what's in the bones of the house. But there is a difference between a firm and an as-is offer. A firm offer has no conditions, of course, but it doesn't mean you walk in and the place is falling apart after you close. It doesn't work like that. Appliances have to be working. It has to be clean condition. So there is a difference between a firm and an as-is offer. So like many of you know, Sweden and New Zealand have an open bid system. There's been studies that have been done recently by the University of Ottawa that have been shown that in open bid systems, the prices have risen drastically rather than decreased. So this is what I was talking about when I say that people are excited for the wrong reason. I understand that blind bidding can be confusing and frustrating. However, I really don't think that open system will lower the house prices. At the end of the day, it's strictly a supply and demand issue. In my opinion, I think a great solution would have some sort of rules around list price versus sold price. As of right now, you can list whatever you want and sell whatever you want. And there's no real rhyme or reason as to the list price versus the sale price. Listing price as of right now is strictly a sales tactic. I think it would be amazing if there was some sort of limit on what you could list the price versus what the property value is, or the reason why buyers get scared away from the whole buying process is just strictly confusion. They don't know what to expect. They're trusting someone they've never met before. And if they lose out on a few and see that some sell $300,000, $400,000, $600,000 over asking, it can make them feel really shitty and it makes the whole process not enjoyable. So I think transparency is great. And I think some rules surrounding the list price would be absolutely amazing and maybe help get more buyers in the market because they would feel more comfortable. As of the other day, there was an announcement made that this home buyer bill of rights won't take effect until April 1st of 2023. So we still have one more full year of blind bidding in effect to see how that goes. Another very important point to mention is the fact that the sellers have the choice whether they do an open bid or a blind bid. So it's not an actual mandatory thing that open bids are in place. It's up to the seller whether they choose to have an open bid or a blind bid. I think it'll be interesting to see what's gonna happen. I'm actually really curious as to what you think is gonna happen, whether you think more sellers will be open to this or they wanna keep it the old way and keep a blind bid in place. I hope I explained everything to you guys properly. If there's anything that I missed, please leave a comment below and let me know and we can have a discussion about it. If you guys are liking the content that I'm putting out, I would appreciate it if you would please subscribe below, hit the notification button so you don't miss any videos that I put out in the future.